Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Sorry for the shitty camera quality. I'm using a cheap ass Chromebook. Uh, I've got a mask on to protect my identity because people on YouTube tend to not like people that have different opinions than them, and I've had some people that I know get doxxed based upon their information they've given away in the background, or their face that they've had has been searched all over the internet or something like that. Anyway, well, here today we're going to be talking about someone you may know. His name is Nick Fuentes. He's the founder of the America First Foundation, super hardcore conservative, pro-life guy, super anti-same-sex marriage, stuff like that. Just kind of all around a piece of garbage. He's multiple times, he's been doing a lot of nationalist shit lately, at CPAC recently, he kept bragging about making the most racist or sexist or the most Nazi-like speech ever or something like that. I don't know. I'll put the video up at some point later in editing probably. But he's been just saying some pretty awful shit online lately. He's got a lot of things to say, believe it or not. Most conservatives do. But he's got a lot of things to say specifically about Muslims. Spoiler alert, these are pretty Islamophobic, but let me read the exact quote right now. There we go. Okay, so on April 17th, Nick Fuentes was the host of RSBN, Right Side Network Broadcasting. It argued that the First Amendment was, quote, not written for Muslims. And once again, the First Amendment is the right to freedom of speech and, freedom of organization. Basically, the right to have free speech. Anyway, this is the exact quote. The First Amendment was not written for Muslims, by the way. It wasn't written for a barbaric ideology that wanted to come over and kill us. It was written for Calvinists. It was written for Lutherans and Catholics, not for Salafists. Not for Wahhabists. Not for the Saudi royal family. I don't think our founders had that one in mind. And it was also intended for citizens, not for immigrants. If the First Amendment protected everyone's right to have their religion and express it in every country, we'd have our police in the Congo or in Uganda fighting against the Lord's resistant army. And you never hear that side of the story on the mainstream media. And why not? Why don't we hear about it? None of our elected officials talk about this or like this. They know it's true. They don't want to hear about it in the mainstream media. We don't want to hear about it on Fox News, by the way, either, and why not? Last part of the quote doesn't really make sense, but that makes sense because he's him. He's also got a lot of interesting things to say about the mainstream media and violence against globalists and members of CNN, saying, quote, "Who runs the media? Globalists. Time to kill the globalists." I don't want to not watch CNN. I don't want CNN to go out of business. I don't want CNN to be more honest. I want the people that run CNN to be arrested and deported or hanged because of this deliberate. So he's calling for violence against media. Anyway, this is not an accident. It's not. Oh, journalists have a liberal bias because they're educated and educated people tend to be. None of that. It is malicious intent. That is a design, that is an agenda, and the people behind CNN that are pushing outright lies. And you see the people who try to expose the truth are cut off so obviously. They get their mics cut off and they say, "Ooh, oops, we've lost the signal, technical difficulties." More to the stuff about, calling for violence against journalists and people that work at CNN, or, I'm assuming he'd also probably not like MSNBC, stuff like that. I don't like Fox News, I don't like Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity or those people. I don't like Janine Pirro. But I don't go online and be like, we need to hang Tucker Carlson, because I don't think that guy needs to be hung. I don't think he needs to be arrested. I think he needs to be deplatformed, sure. I don't think he needs to be deported. But I just think he needs to be deplatformed, not killed, kicked out of the country, or imprisoned just because he has a different opinion than me. That's what makes the fucking right so fucking crazy. Anyway, the weirdest thing about this guy is that, he'll say one thing and then he'll just completely contradicts himself and go down and do another. Which I know doesn't sound too extreme because people on the right do that all the time. Some people on the left do that, I'm willing to admit that, but people on the right do it all the time. But he does it super extremely. Like, once he claimed that the LGBT plus people, this is the real quote, have a huge agenda. He claims that half of the homosexuals are pedophiles, and that Sam Hyde did the numbers. However, the guy he's talking about, Sam Hyde, is just a troll and a comedian known for very, very extremist jokes against gay people, Muslims, and people who he claims to be woke or social justice warriors. He also, like, not even 5 months after that, went on to a stream with a guy named Catboy Cammy, who was a gay YouTuber and alt-right personality. I think his account got banned, thank God. And they generated a lot of controversy with many of his, like, Fuentes' fans speculating that he might be gay or bisexual or something like that, and he actually lost a lot of followers. Oh no. Even, like, the most famous, like, the neo-Nazi guy, Richard Spencer, who coined the term alt-right, I'll probably do a video on him at some point, talked about, like, he was so angry about it. And he was so angry that he would even dare go on a stream with a gay guy, because they're them.
I'll be giving my most unchained speech ever. So this is going to be the most racist.
Whoa!